Welcome to Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services. I'm your host, Ladisa Onilagu. This show connects you to information and services that support healthy aging. On September 28, 2022, the first White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health in over 50 years was convened to bring Americans together to achieve a bold goal: end hunger and increase healthy eating and physical activity by 2030, so that fewer Americans experience diet-related diseases like diabetes, obesity, and hypertension. The national call to action resonates with stakeholders in Georgia at the state and local level. Why? Because this issue of hunger, and more relevant to our department, senior hunger, did not just begin, but we're all ready for it to end. You're in for a great treat. Our guests for today's show are leaders at the state and local level. Dr. Temitope Walker will share the state's approach to addressing senior hunger and the state plan. Matt Piper is Executive Director for Open Hand Atlanta and will talk with me about local strategies. And of course, we've got a mouth-watering recipe just for you, prepared for our Nutrition Services Coordinator, Brandy Coffee, during our Perfectly Seasoned segment. You don't want to miss any of this, so stay tuned. We're back and glad to have you with us here today on Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services. I'm your host, Ladisa Onilagu. I have a few stats for you to consider. Georgia is ranked in the top 10 in the number of food insecure seniors. 9% of seniors are food insecure. Georgia ranked 7th among states where seniors are relocating. 20% of Georgia's population are seniors, 10.7% of seniors live in poverty, and 31% of Georgia's seniors have a disability. This data and more can be located on the Georgia Department of Human Services Division of Aging Services website. The intent is not to paint a daunting picture of an insurmountable challenge. However, the statistics serve as a good starting point to examine why and where senior hunger may exist, the contributing factors, and how solutions are being developed. Joining us today is Temitope Walker, PhD, Senior Hunger Nutrition Coordinator with the Livable Community Section, Division of Aging Services at the Georgia Department of Human Services. She is here to discuss the state's approach to addressing senior hunger and efforts underway to create solutions at the state level. Dr. Walker, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I wanted to frame our conversation around solutions, but let's start with the problem. Can you share one example with our viewers of a real life example of a senior facing hunger or food insecurity?
Absolutely. So I appreciate the question. I would love to give one example, but if you will permit me a little bit of leeway here.
Absolutely.
I think it's important that we not just focus on a particular type of senior, but really recognize that we're really looking at all seniors as those who may potentially be at risk. So with Georgia having about 20% of our population being seniors, and knowing that the risk factors for senior hunger include being an older adult, 60 plus, being disabled, living or having a disability, living in the South or a non-metro area, being Black or Hispanic, being under the age of 65, that cut point between having Medicare or not, being divorced or separated, living in poverty or having less than a high school education. If you start to think about that and the seniors that you know are in your community, that means that we really need to be paying attention to almost all the seniors that are around us.
That was fantastic, and I think better than honing in on one. It helps our understanding of how we should look at senior hunger and exactly how the state is addressing this issue. And it's not just one layer. multi-layer. So with that, can you share with our viewers the landscape regarding senior hunger in our state of Georgia?
So I appreciate that you started the segment talking about some of the key statistics. So that's really the framing, the fact that we have 10% of our population being 60 years and older. And that one that you mentioned that really just stands out is that with Georgia being ranked in the top 10 at this point, number 9, for the number of seniors who are at risk of hunger in that 60 plus category, that one really zeroes in on where we are. That means that really we're talking about maybe 1 in 12 seniors in the state of Georgia who are at risk of hunger. But the silver lining of this landscape when we talk about senior hunger is the fact that there are programs and initiatives, and really the potential here is to expand our partnerships across the public and private sector to really have us thinking about how we address this need. And of course, I'm excited in my role because we have a state plan to address senior hunger. So the work and the opportunity is there. And so that's the exciting part of the landscape that we're in here in the state of Georgia.
Dr. Walker, some of our viewers may not be aware that the state published a state plan to address senior hunger in 2017. Will you give a summary of the focus areas?
So there are 5 focus areas in Georgia State Plan. And I'll say that this is a work in progress. We're really building infrastructure at the state level. But these areas include today's seniors. And that is really a reflection of the diversity of culture, ethnicity, functional ability, and really family structure for our seniors today. And the reality that we're not talking about a Monday through Friday model, but one that covers every single day, every single experience, and what that means for seniors living in the communities that they do. The next focus area is the health impact of senior hunger. It's really reflecting the fact that we're talking about the impact of chronic conditions. Such examples might include having diabetes or high blood pressure, and how that impacts the kind of food you should be eating and what you can actually afford. And then that even extends further into access to healthcare or treatments such as having dental care, how important it is to be able to have teeth that function, that you can actually eat meals. And then the third focus area is food access. We're then talking about SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, others may know it as food stamps. It's about transportation, that balance of getting seniors to food and food to seniors, and all the ways that they can best move around in their communities. The fourth focus area is food waste and reclamation. It's talking about this critical source of food and safety, and making sure that we have the balance of wherever the excess is, how do we get to those who are in need of it, and then making sure that when we have it, that it is safe and available to eat. And then the fifth is meeting the needs of the community. So the reality is when we find the resources that are available in the community, that is finding the resources to address senior hunger. Seniors live in the community and access the same resources that affect all age groups. And so we have to think about that framing, not just seniors alone, but when we help our seniors, we help our community. And so those are the 5 focus areas in the state plan.
Thank you so much for giving a great summary of the state plan. And I encourage anyone watching to read the entire plan. It's packed with information and can probably prompt others to kind of join into not only the discussion, but solutions for addressing senior hunger in Georgia. I referenced at the beginning of the show the 2022 White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health. We now have a national goal to end hunger by 2030. What steps are being taken at the state level to help achieve this goal?
Let's take a step back very quickly. The work in addressing senior hunger really started many, many, many years ago. It's simply the act that we have in an Older Americans Act that we've been able to start the framing for providing services for our older adults has really been that first push to address senior hunger. But for the state of Georgia, it was 2014 when we had the first report that went out that indicated that Georgia was in the top 10 of states. That report came out from Feeding America. And so then we were cued into the fact that we needed to have more of a coordinated effort to address what was happening in our state. And so since then, it's really been a push to not only have this state plan, but to really think about how we raise a bit awareness about senior hunger. What are the solutions that are working? What are our measures of success? How do we evaluate our moves forward? And so that's why I'm excited in this moment, as our main focus now is really thinking about what the next state plan will be. We have really built an infrastructure at the state level in the hiring of my position and really thinking about all these different areas. But what does it mean now to look at all these different efforts that are taking place in the community, at the state, in our sister agencies, and coming together and really focusing in on how we could take all of these supports that are around and come together intentionally to provide a partnership. So really the exciting part now is we're working to have this next state plan, and we're hoping to hear voices from across all sectors to help us in that development.
Dr. Walker, thank you so much for joining us today. I have to share with our viewers that I know you're a representation of how the state is approaching it. Many may not know that our department was presenting at a senior hunger conference one year. And you actually approached me and our team, and that was my first time having the opportunity to meet you many years ago, but you knew the vision that the state had for continuing this work. And I know that Fulton County was not the only county that you've reached out to, and I've seen colleagues in other counties join together to talk about this important topic and share strategies of how we're serving seniors. So I can't thank you enough for joining us today. And we really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And I hope I get a chance at least to plug that if there's any needs that you have for the Division of Aging Services, the broader aging network, we encourage you to call Empower Line, which is the local number for you at 404-463-3333. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next is Perfectly Seasoned with Brandy Coffee, our Nutrition Services Coordinator with the Department of Senior Services. We'll be right back.
My name is Brandy Coffee. I'm the Nutrition Coordinator here with Senior Services at Fulton County. Today, I am going to prepare for you a nutritious cowboy salad. Some people call it a black-eyed pea salad. Some of my ingredients here is the black-eyed peas, and you can use bagged or canned fresh tomatoes. I also have jalapeno, and if you choose not to use that, you can go with cayenne pepper. I have a green pepper here, chopped. I have a red onion, cilantro, and I also have my avocado and cucumber. I am going to add my black-eyed peas. I also have some chopped tomato here. And you kind of want to chop them up finely and add them to your salad. It's very nutritious at 230 calories per serving. And also I have here, and I actually like mine spicy, so I'm going to include some of this jalapeno pepper. So I'm gonna slice that up and include that. I also have some green peppers which I've already pre-chopped. And I'm using basically about a cup of all the ingredients. And I'm going to add some red onion. Fresh cilantro. And I just use the leaves and I leave the stem. And I'm going to take the opportunity to put some nice cucumbers. Now you want to use either a vinaigrette, or you can make your own, or you can use Italian dressing. I mixed about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, with 1 tablespoon of this lemon juice, or you can add fresh lemon, okay? Some salt and pepper. And I'm going to mix this, which you can see, I made a little vinaigrette, right? And you wanna mix this together. Nice, healthy, nutritious meal. And you wanna plate this. All right. And I also have one that I pre-plated for you guys. And I added some avocado to it. I hope you enjoy. It's very delicious. Have a wonderful day.
If you've just tuned in, you're watching Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services. I'm your host, Ladisa Onilagu. Today, we're talking about senior hunger solutions. Perhaps you've heard the term NIMBY, N-I-M-B-Y. It's an acronym for Not in My Backyard. I'm not sure when this term was coined or when the phrase actually developed, but it makes me think about senior hunger. It probably is in your backyard or somewhere nearby. The data collected at the Department of Senior Services alone is enough to prove this case. Over 113,000 meals were delivered to homebound seniors, over 5,000 in 2022. We were able to provide this much needed service thanks to our comprehensive nutrition contract. Our next guest is Matt Piper, Executive Director for Open Hand Atlanta and contractor for the Senior Services Home Delivered Meals Program. Matt, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How did you get into this line of work, and why is senior hunger so important to you and your organization?
Yeah, well, I have a background in working for health-focused community-based agencies. I've worked for a long time in the aid service world, and I also worked at the National MS Society. And so health and human services has always been a passion of mine. I love Open Hand, and I came to work here 14 years ago because it brings a societal solution. You know, I truly do believe older adults are our country's most valuable resource. And it's painful to think that there are seniors out there who are going hungry, right? And who are not only food insecure, but also nutrition insecure too. And so with the right kinds of foods, and with the right kind of nutrition counseling like we offer here at Open Hand Atlanta, we can empower people to take charge of their health and to sometimes overcome chronic health conditions that they face, or at least better manage them. We can do that through nutrition. So we're really walking the talk here at Open Atlanta when it comes to the food is medicine movement. We truly believe that.
So I'm very interested in discussing the solutions that Open Hand has in place for meeting and putting it into senior hunger. Let's start with Good Measure Meals first. Some of our viewers may have never heard of this term. So what exactly is this program?
Yeah, so Good Measure Meals, it's been around for about 16 years now. And it is a way that we're able to generate revenue for our mission while also helping seniors of all ages and adults of all ages meet their nutrition needs. So it's our home delivered meal program for the paying public, with 100% of the net proceeds going back to support our community nutrition programs. It's an e-commerce product. People order it online. We deliver it right to their house, and they're made with no preservatives. They have exceptional quality food, so grade A chicken, grade A beef, lots of variety. It also has exceptionally high nutritional standards that are recommended by the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, the USDA, because again, we really believe that food is medicine, and that with the right kind of food, we can help people achieve their ultimate health, including older adults. And older adults are the largest segment of whom Open Hand serves.
It's fantastic. I'm actually taping from one of our 14 neighborhood senior centers, New Beginnings in Fairburn, Georgia, and Open Hand provides the meals here. And when I walked in, I could smell the delicious food warming up and actually saw the choices. So a part of our contract, and you're well aware, is that our seniors have options and choices to pick from, but we're also meeting a need here through the
Yeah.
congregate meal dining program. So thank you for that. Matt, go ahead and share with us the progress that's been made with the Food is Medicine movement.
I'm very encouraged about how food is medicine is so much a part of the national dialogue now. You know, the White House conference that you mentioned, that was the first one done in 50 years by the White House. And that was very exciting. So I think people are really beginning to understand that what you put in your body is going to make a difference to your health outcomes. And so I think that's progress, that it's more a part of the public health dialogue right now. I think there's also a bigger focus on nutrition education and nutrition counseling. More people are qualifying for medical nutrition therapy, which is actually nutrition counseling that's prescribed by a doctor. And so we're finding creative, unique ways to actually teach people about the right kinds of foods that they should be eating, especially if they are facing or battling a chronic health condition. And oftentimes our clients are battling multiple chronic health conditions. And so I think that there's a bigger appreciation in the public health sector for the Food is Medicine movement. I think there are some great policy changes that have been happening around the country and that are happening here in Georgia. So as an example, health plans and managed care plans that are Medicaid plans will have the option to include home delivered meals and nutrition education as a benefit on their plans. Medicaid won't pay for it yet, but the plan has the opportunity to pay for it.
Yes.
Well, that's huge. That is, and so that'll begin in 2024, actually, and we're very excited about that. I think that kind of policy change is helping to underscore the value proposition of really healthy food and eliminating barriers that prevent older adults and adults of all ages from accessing healthy food. So I think there's a higher appreciation, and I think policy change is beginning to happen that's going to support senior hunger causes.
I'm so glad that you shared that piece of information about the policy, which is a guide for how we as agencies and organizations can collectively serve seniors, older adults,
Yes.
especially here in Fulton County, and we're speaking the same language, and then we get support at the state level. It trickles down to the local level, and it eventually impacts and benefits our seniors.
Absolutely.
Another strategy is volunteerism. Why is this a core part of the open hand model?
Thank you for saying that, and because it truly is a core a part of our mission. Our organization was built on the backs of thousands and thousands of volunteers. In fact, the first 2 years that Open Hand existed, and we've now been around 35 years, there were no paid employees. It was all volunteers. And I was one of them. That's how I started out here at Open Hand.
Wow.
You know, the volunteers come in every day, they help package up the meals, they help deliver them, and that human connection, that warm smile, when you're doing the handoff of the meal, that means a lot to folks who are homebound, who are not feeling very well. And just that warm smile by volunteers is so important. But also, our client base is a very diverse client base. And I love the fact that our volunteer base is also a very diverse base, right? So we are reflecting whom we are serving in the community. And then there's the fact that because of these wonderful volunteers give so much of their time and talent, we're saving a lot of labor costs. And those are dollars that we can reinvest back into our community and help feed more people who don't have the means to pay for their meals. Yeah. And so huge respect for volunteerism, and it will always be a very, very important part of our mission.
Yeah, it's a key strategy, and it makes sense. And I can attest to participating, seeing your operations. Our team had a chance to deliver meals to, and I know that the pandemic has brought on a lot of technology that's benefited us, but I don't think a robot is ever going to replace a human smile, right?
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned, we have folks from your department and from throughout Fulton County government who come to volunteer here all the time. I've delivered meals with the chief operating officer and many Fulton County commissioners and many people from your team. So we love having you here. You know, one more thing about volunteerism, we walk the talk when it comes to food as medicine, right? But we also have a saying that food is love, and volunteerism is part of that. Food is love, right? If you want to help someone know that you care, and especially if they're not feeling well, what do? We make them a meal, right? It's biblical.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you understanding the importance of volunteerism. Thank you.
Matt, we could go on. I know our time is limited. So what is the most critical piece of information that you want our viewing audience to walk away with?
To me, providing home delivered meals and quality, nutritionally sound, delicious home delivered meals and lots of choice, it's about dignity. It's about providing people with dignity and respect. And it's so critical that we continue to invest in home delivered meal programs and elevate the nutritional standards. Our healthcare system struggles because we have epidemic levels of chronic health conditions. And that's especially true amongst many of the seniors that we serve. And through the right kind of nutrition, we can help people to prevent and to age in place and to live their healthiest lives with the right kind of nutrition. But it takes investment. And so I'm always advocating up on the Hill and down at the Capitol for protecting our home and community-based service funding and Older Americans Act funding and other funding streams too, Ryan White. The advocacy piece is so important. And when we think the fact that older adults are one of our most valuable resources in this country, we have to do right by them with the right kind of nutrition.
This has been a wonderful conversation, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back with closing thoughts. We're so glad you joined us today. Multiple strategies are necessary to make Georgia a food secure state, and even closer to home, Fulton, a food secure county. If you're interested in responding to this clarion call to action, then consider learning more about the many strategies and information that we've shared with you today. We exist to support independence, health, and delay cognitive decline through programs and services for seniors, caregivers, and the community. We do this by providing group and individual programs in settings through preventive intervention or supportive services. We welcome your feedback and the opportunity to speak with you further about these and more services. For more information, give us a call at our Star Line, 404-613-6000. You may also email us at seniorservices@fultoncountyga.gov. You may also follow us at Fulton Info. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Connect, powered by the Fulton County Department of Senior Services.